Welcome, everybody. My name is Mitzi Manzano, and I'm with the Filipino Food Movement. And just to let you know that we are participating in the 27th anniversary of Pistahan here in the United States, in San Francisco in particular. And since, due to COVID reasons, we are doing a virtual festival this time. So we're curating the Filipino the culinary tent this year. And based on that, we are featuring Chef John Buenaventura, who is the
Hello.
cluster executive chef for the Hilton Island. Welcome, John.
Hello, guys. I'm glad to be part of the show today. Yeah,
Tell
7 o'clock.
me
Yeah.
exactly what a cluster executive chef is.
So it's pretty much an executive chef job. It's just that you're handling more than one hotel. So more than it being focusing on a few restaurants, you're actually going to be handling a couple of different hotels plus more restaurants. So it's very important to be logistically organized and very much properly, should I say, planned. You plan in advance so that everything is running smooth.
So basically, what are we talking about? How many outlets are you handling?
Previously, see, Hilton Yasa Island is set to open by November. Well, I cannot really disclose an exact opening date, but
Well, yeah.
around, let's just say, on the quarter 4 of this year. But previously, I was handling the cluster in Alsif area, so it was 3 hotels, a couple of restaurants, around 12 food and beverage outlets. So it's quite a
A
big
lot
operation.
to oversee.
It's quite a lot, right? But again, I think it's not easy, but for you to make it work, you just basically need to hire the right people to do the job, and you
So
just
you
need to make sure
basically
you're
oversee
very smart.
so you'll have like other executive chefs, like other chefs that are
Yeah.
particular overseeing the other restaurants. So you're like, the
Yes.
general
So you
umbrella and
have
everything.
Yes, so you have your chef de cuisines, your sous chefs, your specialty chefs who's running the different outlets, and yeah, so you're more on the vision and making sure that everything goes into play and everything is according to plan, and that's about it.
Where is Yas Island? Is that
Yas Island is Yeah, it's in Abu Dhabi. It's in Abu Dhabi. It's in the capital of UAE. It's where Ferrari World is located. Warner Brothers World is located. So all the good stuff of Abu Dhabi is located there. There's lots of new attractions coming up by 2021, 2022. So it's really, really exciting. So that's something I'm really
oh,
looking forward to.
it's always good to put that notch on, in your belt there whenever you open up
Yes,
a new property.
yes.
That's very good to have there. Now,
It's good. You could put your mark on it, because you set up the standards, the SOPs, and you put your flair into it, and then everything is just amazing. So
now give me a little idea on what your background. How did you start in culinary? How long have you been in the culinary world?
ah, that's quite a number of years. Well, let's just say around, maybe I've been cooking for maybe 15 years now, 15, 16 years now. Well, professionally, I've been cooking 11 years, 11, 12 years. Yeah. So I started my career back in Manila. I graduated from Center for Culinary Arts. And then after that, I took up a degree in business management in AIM, Asian Institute of Management, in the food industry. So entrepreneurship in the food industry. And then after that, I felt that the Philippines was a bit too small for me. So I wanted to venture out somewhere. So I joined the Intercontinental Group. I was supposed to go to the US, but we had to go to Dubai for a stopover to set up and open the Intercontinental in Dubai Festival City. And for some reason, I fell in love with the country, and then I ended up staying here for the last, 9 years maybe. I
Wow.
kept
So
on
you
going
never
out.
made it here to the States then.
Yeah, never, but maybe eventually one day I'll get to meet all of you guys there.
I
So
know
so
that.
after that, that would be great, yeah, right? That would be great. So what happened was, 2007 we opened Intercontinental Dubai Festival City. That was my really first um, deep dive into the hotel industry, right? So we're working with really good chefs, with Michelin star chefs as well. And then after 2.5 years, I decided to move out of Dubai. So I got a nice offer in Four Seasons in the Maldives. So I was working there for a good 1.5 years. So I was the chef in charge for the catamaran cruise ship in Four
In a
Seasons.
cruise ship. Now, how is that like the catamaran cruise ship? I mean,
It
I've never
only
heard of.
holds, yeah, a catamaran cruise ship is more of like your private yacht, right? So it only holds 20 passengers, but it has 20 rooms inside. So it's like your VIP luxury yacht, which only goes around the Maldivian islands. So only Four Seasons has that. So what we do is we do 7-day charters where we pick up guests from the main island of Maldives, and it goes around all the secluded islands in the Maldivian atolls, and then we bring them back. So you're literally running your own small floating hotel. So from room amenities, from to breakfast to lunch to dinner, you're responsible for everything. So
Isn't that
even if like,
planning for that one? I mean, do you ever run out
yes,
of
yes,
food?
of course we run out of food one way or the other, right? But you see the beauty of it, I mean, you just really have to be smart on how you do stuff. If you really ran out of stuff, we actually get a chartered seaplane to fly ingredients from the main island to where we are in the middle of the ocean. And sometimes we also get guests in the middle of the charter from a seaplane, so we could do that. But sometimes also, during our free time, I go on the deck, I have my kitchen crew, we start fishing for fresh fish. You get fresh fish, you cook it, you make sashimi out of it, and happy days, right?
Did you ever fish
So
for yourself there? I mean,
yes,
fish
yes,
for.
yeah, we did it a lot of times. I mean, tuna in Maldives is really good. So we do like really nice grills and like talk about super fresh sashimi, right? So yeah, so that's one of the experiences that we had there. And then I had to go back to, and then after 1.5 years there, for some reason Dubai pulled me back. So I was one of the head chefs in Raffles, Dubai, which is part of the Fairmont Group. So I was working there in an award-winning steakhouse called Fire and Ice. So I was there for a good 1.5 years as well. And then just opportunities just keep on coming, right? And then after that, I was privileged to be part of the SBM group, Société de Bain de Mer, the Monte Carlo group in Monaco. So I got to the group. So we were going up and down in Monte Carlo in Monaco, and eventually we opened the Monte Carlo Beach Club in Abu Dhabi. So again, UAE started to pull me back again,
Yeah.
back again. So we opened the Monte Carlo Beach Club, where I think it was the highest beach club in terms of standards and quality. Yeah. So after that, I got a bit bored of the beach club operations. It was 6 outlets though, so it was quite a big operation. After that, I went back into the hotel industry. So I was appointed as the head chef of Fairmont de Palm Jumeirah. So we were handling, I was handling like 4 or 5 outlets there. And for some reason, again, another opportunity came after a year and a half. Atlantis de Palm called me in as their head chef for their biggest steakhouse, which we did around 350 covers every night for that. So that was quite good. And then after that, I thought that I could do everything. I got a bit of confidence, and then I started to go on my own venture, which is opening my own restaurant called Cuisine Uno. So it was kind of like really a brave move, because opening a restaurant in Dubai is not a joke. It's really tough, and the competition is really tough. But we have to try it, right?
What type
So
of
yeah.
food did you do in Cuisinero?
So see, it was more of your Spanish influence stuff, right? But I used to get a lot of ingredients from the Philippines, like calamansi, the green papaya, some malunggay also. I wanted to introduce the ingredients slowly to the market. But my strength as a chef is more of really your Spanish, Latin American cuisine, right? But I use a lot of Filipino ingredients. So yeah. So after that, so unfortunately, due to the market conditions, and it was my first venture. It was a passion project. We could have maybe done something better, but we can't really control everything that happens, right? I had to close down the restaurant and try to stand back up again. Everybody wants to, once in a while in their life, you fall down. they
Well,
always
I
say
think
you fall down
the book
seven, you
is
stand up eight, right?
everybody has to learn how to reinvent themselves
Yes.
again. It's
True,
basic.
true.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you were able to do that. I mean, it looks like, I mean, your career has, and you've won several awards already. I mean, like
Mm.
you were in the top 300 Illustrados, most
Yeah,
visible.
the most influential Filipinos in the GCC. So that was by Ilustrado magazine. It was really cool, for them to notice talents, right? Yeah, so it was a hard fall, to be very honest. It was really a life-changing moment, and I think opening that restaurant was the best time of my life, and it was also the hardest time of my life. It even came to a point that I didn't know how to stand back up after that fall, right? Because I mean, when everything's beautiful and nice, everybody becomes your best friend. But when you're down, everybody suddenly doesn't know you. But you find your way, and then you just keep your head on your shoulder, look straight, and then keep on pushing. So I found my foot back into the hotels, and after that, I was appointed as executive sous chef for Waldorf Astoria, which is a luxury five-star hotel in the financial district of Dubai. And after that, again, after a short time, I was appointed the cluster executive chef in Al Seef, which is super super close now. And then now, for some reason, Hilton has really supported me a lot in my journey, and now they've given me the opportunity to showcase my talent a bit more, to open the cluster in Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. So that's something really interesting.
Now, would you say, did you have any mentors when you were there I mean, were your mentors more in the Philippines, or would you say in your travels abroad when you were working?
Yeah, I had a couple of mentors, but I think I could think of one off my head. This is Chef Matthew Goodlett, which was an Australian chef who gave me the opportunity to actually work in Monte Carlo. And until I was in it, because what he did was he moved to Dubai, then he pulled me to Dubai, then he moved to Atlantis, then he pulled me to Atlantis, and then until now we're really really good friends. But I really learned a lot from him, and I mean, there were also a lot of other people who've supported me. Well, for the last 2 to 3 years, I've met a lot of people that really supported me as well. So yeah, I mean, and yeah, and that's it. I mean, just to mention Flavel as well, the author of the cookbook, has really supported me a lot, and has been sort of like as well a mentor to me in terms of life hacks, so to speak. I mean, thinking twice before acting, or thinking twice before you say something, and whatnot. So yeah.
You mentioned Flavel. Is he the well-known cookbook writer or producer?
So
Can you tell me more about this
yeah,
project?
yeah. So Flavel is an award-winning author. He is very very well respected around the industry, and he is known to a lot of people. He is, well, he did a lot of books to start with, right? And like he supported me in everything that I've done ever since before. But not just me. He supported a lot of chefs, not just Filipino chefs, but a lot of other chefs as well. But now he's really focusing on the Filipino cuisine, and how we could bring our cuisine back up, and really to showcase it to expats, right? So he is someone who really knows what he's doing, and for a non-Filipino to support Filipino cuisine is something really really good.
When is the cookbook coming out? Just to
Again, I don't know if I have the authority to officially
Okay.
announce when it will be released, but it will be soon. It will be very soon. But it's going to be a really good book. A lot of effort and love went into it from everybody contributed in the book. So I think it's going to be a really amazing book. Yeah.
And I hear that, some of the proceeds from the book will be will help benefit Filipino food movement and Philippine international aid. Philippine food movement to help, the front, our restaurateurs affected by COVID-19, and also raising awareness of Filipino food, and Philippine international aid to help young students, especially all around the country in Mindanao.
Yeah, actually, that's you're absolutely correct with that, Mitzi. Again, the objective of the book is actually for charity, right? We're doing this because we want to help. We genuinely want to help. Like what we said, we have our careers, we have a lot of things that we do, but we're doing this out of our extra time and everything, and we're putting a lot of time and effort into this because we really love what we do. And this is about time for us to share and put it out there that, you know, we can make it.
Basically going to be Filipino recipes then.
Let's just say it is Filipino recipes, but with a bit of a touch of our identities, right? I mean, what will happen is, like, for example, we have a recipe there of, for example, adobo, right? Maybe the adobo, what a lot of Filipinos know, is different than how I interpret my adobo. So it's how I interpret stuff. It's not saying that mine is correct or his is correct or hers is correct. It's just that this is how I interpret it. And this is how I want you to visualize it. So yeah.
I think with adobo especially, that is one national dish that we have that there's going to be thousands of alliterations on how they make
For sure.
their
For sure.
adobo.
And everybody's going to be commenting about it. And everybody's going to be like, no, it's not supposed to be done like that. No, it's supposed to be done like this. But it is what it is, right? I mean, like what I said, as a chef, I think you grow as a chef if you know, number one, the taste is highly subjective. So what may be good for you may not be good for me. But at the end of the day, you cook what you love. And
What would you
it is
say
what it
is
is,
your
right?
favorite type of cuisine to cook?
I fell in love with the Spanish cuisine in general. Not, I shouldn't say maybe. Well, in terms of ingredients, Asian cuisine or Filipino cuisine or even Thai cuisine has a lot of like ingredients. But in terms of the flavor and the vibe, I fell in love with the Spanish cuisine. Why? Because I think whenever they cook their food, there's a lot of love that goes into it, right? I'm not saying that other cuisines don't put love when they cook, but in the Spanish cuisine, it just shows, you know, when, you know, there's just the whole vibe into it. It's all about sharing. It's all about tasting different flavors, tasting different food, and you know, sharing it with your loved ones and whatnot, right? So yeah. So
Do you
I'm
find
in love. Yeah.
you're in love with it? Do you
I'm in love with
find
it.
that you're bringing some of your Filipino influence to some of your dishes now? Or
Yes. Yes, 100%. Like, I think it's about time to start. If you don't start, you'll never finish, right? Or the only way to do it is to start. So, like right now, we're trying to make sure that we make a demand for Filipino ingredients by introducing it to the world. I think calamansi now is starting to really become popular. I think even French companies are starting to import calamansi and make them into purees because it's really distinct flavor. I think kamias also is starting to be imported here. I can start to see kamias here, although it's dried. But you know, so there's a bit of movement already. So I think it's more of like awareness. My goal for Filipino cuisine or Filipino food is more of like making people taste the Philippines rather than tasting the cuisine. In what sense? So for example, I get mangoes from the Philippines, which has a distinct flavor, and I make recipes out of it. But it doesn't mean that I have to make ensaladang manga or something. It can be totally different, but I'm using produce from the Philippines. It's what all of the Michelin star chefs do. They go to their country, they focus on the ingredients and the produce of what they have, and then they turn it into a really good dish. So yeah.
how hard is it to get your Filipino ingredients there? Or do you have to specially
Um,
import them?
We do have, since there's a huge Filipino community in Dubai, we do have a lot of Filipino ingredients. However, the likes of duhat or siniguelas or like atis, you know, I mean, it's very rare that you find them, but once in a while you find them. Calamansi is starting to really become popular as well. But you know, there's a lot of ingredients that I would love to use. Like for example, pako. You know what you use for pako salad?
Yes.
Also even lato, also the seaweeds, right? I mean, you don't really get them here. Even the kulangot ng igorot, right? The coconut, the coconut.
Kulangot ng igoro.
Yeah, you call it kulangot in Baguio. It comes in like sticks, and it comes like in round wooden things. That's why they call it kulangot ng igorot. But when you open it, there's actually coconut jam inside, and then you just eat it off.
Isn't
You actually use your finger to take it out and then you eat it.
it out?
That's why it's
Oh,
called like
that's
that.
why it's kulangot. It's like picking your
That's
nose.
why it's yes, exactly. That's why they call it that. But it has a really good flavor.
Isn't
So
pako like fiddle fern, or is
yes,
it
it's a
a
fern. It's
fiddle?
a type of fern,
It's
a
a,
fiddle leaf. Yeah, it's a fiddle
yeah.
leaf. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, because I know some of the here in the United States that we find that some of these hard to find ones are finally showing up, but frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Yeah,
having
but
that?
it doesn't taste the same.
Doesn't taste
No,
the
yeah,
same.
doesn't taste the same. Like even like what I said, the reason why regional Filipino food is delicious because the vegetables actually grow from their backyards. My grandmother always plants from our backyard or the vacant lot next to us, right? That's why the vegetables always taste different, and it's just fresh and it's just very tasty.
Would you say that your grandmother did she influence you or your mother in cooking?
Well, everybody cooks at home, right? But my grandmother specialized in regional sweets, right? Like rice sweets or rice cakes. Because what she used to do was to make a lot of those and actually gave it to the teachers of my dad so that they could go to school. So it was more of like a trade-off back in the day. So my dad is a farmer. He grew up in the farm in Nueva Ecija. So we still have the farm there. So we used to plant a lot of rice, onions, and garlic. And back in the day, it was a bit tough, right? So they grew with he grew up only with my grandmother. So they had to make ends meet.
How do you tell? Because I know how it is. Like you pursue certain avenues or certain courses that you want, but let's say your family doesn't want you to take it. It's like every
Yeah.
Filipino family wants you to be a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse. Now,
Yeah.
what did they want you to do? Is that what they, because you became a chef? How did that
Yes.
happen?
Actually, surprisingly, my parents really just told me you can be whatever you want, right? But when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a fireman, right? But it's funny, my dad was like, John, don't be a fireman. I didn't send you to LaSalle to become a fireman. It's like, what do you mean, Dad? No, because it was fancy, because in the fire trucks you have a lot of buttons and pulleys and everything. So as a kid, you kind of like see that it's kind of cool. I have nothing against firemen. I think firemen are amazing people and they have a very decent job, and I think it saves a lot of people, right? But actually, I was supposed to take up fine arts or computer graphics because I'm really good in arts. I really like to draw. I really like to paint.
You're an
Like,
artist then. Oh my
yeah,
God.
on my free time, I do a lot of graffiti.
Is that your
So
preferred medium then, being the graffiti work?
yeah, spray paint. Yeah, yeah, I do a lot of graffiti. Even in my house, I spray it everywhere. So yeah,
What
so
you
graffiti
do,
is my
I
thing.
heard about, is that why you do your tennis shoes the way you do? Because I heard about your tennis shoes.
Well, my chef shoes, yes, my chef shoes, yeah,
Yes.
it's all painted out. Yeah, yeah, I had to put a bit of character to it, right? Yeah, art is something that I live and breathe, right? I'd rather do a whole day of art than sit in the computer and do like numbers or whatnot.
Exactly. So
I
isn't
still do
cooking
numbers, don't get me
say
wrong, but I,
an
I
art
would prefer
also?
to do art. Sorry?
Cooking is an art.
Yes. So like what I said, I was supposed to take up fine arts or like computer graphics. However, for some reason, after an hour, 2 hours on the computer, I always fall asleep. So I had to look for an avenue where I could do my creativity without falling asleep. And for some reason, I ended up in a kitchen and I saw the drama, the pressure, the shouting, the violence, and I just fell in love with it. And then from then on, I was hooked. And next thing you know, I was spending 8 hours in the kitchen, 12 hours, 16 hours. My longest shift was 23 hours
Oh my,
nonstop. But
it's like
it was
it's like a
amazing.
doctor being, doing their internship, doing your
Yeah,
12
yeah, yeah.
4 hour shifts and everything.
Yeah, but
But
I think but the thing is you love it. You love it. You know that you're really sleepy. Sometimes you in the kitchen, if you start to fall asleep, you have to keep on moving, right? And then you go to the butchery or you go to the freezer and then like stay there for like 5 minutes just to cool you up, and then you go back and then get into the hot kitchen again.
what I would be
So
afraid of is like if I was falling asleep, would be chopping my finger off.
no, then you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to ask you, so you had mentioned earlier also about, from when you left the Philippines. After, so you went to culinary school in the Philippines, correct?
Yes. So CCA Manila was one of the best schools at that time. We had affiliates from Le Cordon Bleu, so we had really good professors who were really teaching us from Culinary Institute of America and all that stuff. So it was good.
And would
It was
you
a
say
good.
the rest of your training was done on the job when you when you went abroad?
Yes, actually, I mean, there's a lot of things that you learn from culinary school, but majority of what you learn is through experience. Sometimes as young juvenile chefs, we always have this ego that we can do everything and we want to be the next Gordon Ramsay who's on TV. But realistically, it really doesn't happen for everybody. And before he was there, he was really working his hard to be able to get where he is. So yeah.
What do you like about living in the Middle East?
Well, number one, the country is a very strong country. It's very organized. It's very safe. It's very diverse as well. I think a lot of people really made their careers here, and then I think it's a country, or at least Dubai is a city where opportunities are endless. I mean, you could be anyone you want, to be very honest, right? And it's secure and it's safe, and everybody follows the law. So and I mean, you could pretty much get everything here now. I mean, everything is in that you wish for or whatnot, right? And
What?
everybody respects everybody because there's a lot of religions here,
Yes,
lots of different people from different parts of the world, so everybody just coexists perfectly. So
that's good. I mean, because
yeah.
would how was it when you first started introducing the Filipino-based ingredients with your food? Was there any resistance, or because most of your clientele aren't necessarily the Filipinos, but
No, no, no.
everybody, all a lot of
Hmm.
expats and
Yeah.
locals and everything. So was
Yeah.
there any resistance to that, or were they curious, or
Well, again, using the ingredient from the Philippines, actually, they're very, very receptive of it. They're really happy that you're using it. However, I have not introduced it the way we cook it. Like, for example, sometimes if you cook tuyo, it's really gonna smell, right? But if you use the ingredient to a different cooking technique, or maybe make it into a paste, or maybe fry it somewhere where nobody can smell it until it's crispy, and you use it as like a crumble or something like that, then people would really appreciate it, right? It's how you manipulate the ingredients of what we have to the palates of the international community. I think that's how we should do it. I know that some people might say or might argue that we should not lose our identity. However, the identity that we've built around Filipino cuisine is not palatable to other people, right? I mean, it's not, should I say, uh, safe enough because our flavors are very bold and are very strong. So we need to tone it down a bit, or we need to like execute it properly so that they would appreciate it. And for us Filipinos, we like 100 different flavors in one bite, but sometimes less is more. So my philosophy with food is always like 3 to 4 ingredients maximum on a plate, so you know exactly what you're eating. Because a lot of chefs nowadays, what they do, they put a lot of stuff in your plate. It looks good, it tastes good, but you don't really know what you're eating anymore.
would you say, here in the United States, the trend has been towards a lot of people going towards more plant-based diets and
Mm-hmm.
everything, like vegetarian. Are you finding that's happening there too in your part of the world now?
Well, yes. I think everybody goes. I'm not saying it's a trend. I think yes, there's research behind it, but to be honest, I think there's also a lot of marketing behind it, right? I mean, one time keto was invented, and everybody started become keto. Then paleo was invented, and everybody was paleo. Gluten free was well. I know that I have people who have
Don't give
celiac,
me
and
anything gluten-free. I've never had anything yet,
you
so
know.
like I
So
appreciate.
I do empathize the people who really have intolerance to different allergies or food groups or ingredients. I have nothing against it, and I would really be I would want to be the chef to be able to make you experience different dishes that's gluten free, that could be good, right? Because it's not your choice to be allergic to gluten or whatnot, right? But some people take advantage of it and then just say, oh, I'm allergic to gluten. Next thing you know, you see them in the restaurant next door eating, I don't know, pasta or something like that, right? I mean, but again, I think it's a trend. I think a lot of it is a trend. I think a lot of it is marketing, but yeah, it is big here in the UAE. When everybody wants to go protein diet, everybody goes on protein diet, and
Everybody goes like that.
really, yeah.
Now, have you ever cooked for somebody very famous that you got intimidated by, or that you were in awe of, that made you nervous being a chef?
Um, usually when some VIP comes in, I tend not to meet them before I cook the food. So I tend to meet them after cooking the food, right? But sometimes you have no choice. Like back in my restaurant, I mean, Miss Universe was there, so obviously it was an open kitchen. So Pia Wurzbach was there, Michael Cinco
Ooh,
was there, all together. So I was cooking lunch for them. But also His Highness Sheikh Hamdan, the Crown Prince of Dubai, actually came to my restaurant in Cuisinero Uno, and
wow,
it was
that's an
unannounced.
honor
Yeah,
for them.
it is an honor, and then he doesn't really visit a lot of places, and he visited us without saying anything. So it was a surreal moment for me, and it was an honor for me to do that, right? So it was good. It was really good. Yeah, I got that was a moment I got a bit nervous, because I wanted to make sure that I make a mark, and I try to introduce. I made him eat taba ng talangka. So what I did was we grilled some prawns. So we made like a hollandaise sauce out of taba ng talangka, and we poured it over the grilled prawns. So it was really smooth and delicious and everything, and then they
You're
really
gonna
liked
have
it.
to share that recipe. That sounds so good.
Yeah.
I love
So yeah,
tapan ng
that's me. That's
talangka.
fortune.
I mean, just even give me some with a fried, fried egg
Even
and
just rice, even
sinangag,
just steamed
and
rice. That's it.
that's it.
That's
I mean,
even good,
I'm
right?
happy with that.
Like big. It was tiger prawns from the Philippines. It was really big. We just grilled it over charcoal with salt, pepper, a little bit of calamansi, and then we just placed the tabanan talangka hollandaise on top of it, and we just torched it, and it was super simple and super divine, and that's about it, right? And then they ate it, so and they loved it. So,
What would you say was the most impressive dish that a non-chef has prepared for you?
ooh, a non-chef that has prepared for me, impressive one. I don't know because nobody cooks for me.
Okay, you're
the best.
intimidated by
Okay. The best dish I could say so far was when my mom cooked for me. I think everybody agrees when mom cooks for you, it's always the best, right? But my mom's roast chicken is something that I always eat whenever she's around, or before. It's something that I always ask for her. But she does the sauce with calamansi and a little bit of star margarine and nor seasoning and all that stuff. So it's her own recipe with sugar and stuff. It's really good. Yeah.
now. What dish? Now, this is not for the restaurant. This is just being John, right?
Okay.
Um, what dish would you make if you wanted to impress someone on a
Well,
personal level, not on a restaurant?
okay. No, but I think it's more of like not really a dish. It's more of like trying to cook maybe two or three different dishes because I really believe in texture, right? I'm a type of person I cannot be satisfied with one dish only. I need to have something else. I need to have something crunchy, something grilled, something like with sauce or everything. So maybe a selection of different dishes that you could try bits and pieces of it, right? And then you take that person to a journey of tastes and flavors which they haven't tried before. So yeah, I mean, it could be as common as a kare kare, but you really cook it in a different way. Like for example, instead of using peanuts, maybe you could use macadamia nuts and hazelnuts, and then you roast them, and you make a paste out of it. So and using oxtail and stuff. So there's a lot of things that you could really do, but it's more of like my vision is really extracting the most flavor that you can get from all the ingredients, and I think it can be as simple as a seared fish with ensalada with red egg ensalada or whatever, but done properly, right? You get really ripe tomatoes, like it's really sweet, and then itlog na pula. The oil that comes out of from the red of the itlog na pula, and you take that, and that's the one that you drizzle over the ensalada. You don't even have to add the
I,
red egg, and just
I
mix it,
love
right?
I love the red egg. In fact, I just learned, somebody just shared with me the recipe,
Hmm.
how to make my own, itlog na pula, because
Yeah,
I can get some duck eggs here, and then
yeah,
maybe it might be the next experiment. But because I didn't realize you don't necessarily cook the itlog na pula.
yeah.
It's
You
just
usually
cured.
they yeah, it's cured. Actually, they dip it in very salty mud back in the day. How they make it, right? Actually, on the cookbook that we're doing, there's actually a recipe there with that I made was it was piyaya na may abo with duck egg. Sorry, itlog na pula mousse. So it's more of like your flatbread. So it's like piyaya, but we mix it with onion ash, and then we've taken the red egg and made a mousse into it. So we kind of like spread it on top. That's really really nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do some rapid fire here.
Okay. So this is like a yes or no question, and then like or like A and
Or
B
just,
kind of thing.
whatever, just a
All right.
quick.
All right. Cool. Okay. Okay.
What is your favorite food?
Spanish food.
Any particular dish?
Paella. Paella. Well, paella has been the
Paella
first
still
dish
is
that I
your.
learned, and then this is the dish that I really love cooking. So,
What is your most hated food?
food that doesn't have taste. I
Okay.
appreciate everything. So yeah,
How about
or
your
overcooked
comfort
one.
food?
I love junk food. So I could do. Can I mention any
Dip,
brands or whatnot?
they're
But
on, or what are you?
I like a greasy bacon cheeseburger or something like that with
Okay.
soda and vanilla ice cream.
Speaking of ice cream, do you get vanilla ice cream there in the
I think so, but the thing is, I'm not sure. I think it's very rare, just because ice cream is also being done here, and the cost of the ice cream here is very cheap. So if you buy imported Filipino ice cream here in the UAE, it might end up more expensive, to be honest.
what would you say is the most challenging ingredient to cook with?
Um, what was the most challenging ingredient to cook with? I think, well, I started cooking with water buffalo, okay, with buffalo meat. It's just a bit tough. Well, you really need to do proper techniques on how to get the most out of it. Um, Again, I think I don't know if I've answered your
Did you
question, but I
cook
think
it
all
there,
ingredients.
or did
Right?
you cook it in Dubai or in other places, or did you cook
No,
it in the Philippines?
well, this was in the Philippines, but like I think for every ingredient, I think all ingredients are there's a level of difficulty on how to cook it. You just need to keep on using them to learn how to use it properly. Even as simple as an onion, if you don't know how to cut it well or how to caramelize it, for example, then you won't get the proper flavors that you get, right? Yeah, or it can be as delicate as a white truffle, and if you don't know how to use it, you're just gonna end up throwing it in the bin or not appreciating the flavor, right?
Now, what would you say is, other than Spanish food, what would be another cuisine you would like to learn?
I would like to learn. Oh, okay. I would be very interested to learn a bit more of maybe African cuisine,
African.
African cuisine, also and also Eastern European cuisine. It's just really, or sort of like maybe Russian cuisine. That would be really really interesting for me to see because based on the environment that they have in their countries, I would be really curious on what produce they have that's not common, you know, or
Because
African
from what
cuisine.
I understand, like the countries like the Russian, like Poland and everything, from people that have lived there, from other Filipinos that live there,
Mm,
it's like they have a lack. Produce is a hard thing to have.
mm,
It's a
mm.
lot of root vegetables and everything.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing about, they have these cold cellars that they store all their
Mm.
vegetables in. So it's a
Yeah, but
different thing altogether.
true. But it would be interesting on how they preserve food as well, because then it's not every time that during the season it might be too cold that nothing grows, right? So I'd be curious on the cooking methods that they do and everything. And going to Africa, I mean, Africa has one of the countries that the biggest one of the biggest continent, and their soil is very fertile, right? So a lot of things grow there that no one has maybe ever discovered yet or whatnot, right? So it'd be great to see it. I know it's a very, very vast uh, country or continent or a place to say, but I think there's a lot of exploring to be done in that part of the world. So
So we're done with the rapid fire, but I wanted to ask you, where do you see yourself? I mean, it's like a job interview in a way, but where do you see yourself in the next maybe 5, 10 years?
uh, honestly, I really don't know, Mitzi. But I mean, where I would want to be, well, one is I would want to be the first Michelin star Filipino chefs, right? I would want to have
Oh,
that.
fabulous.
Yeah. It's not easy to get it, but that's one of the goals. Another one is maybe I don't know. I would also want to try and open my own restaurant again, but I want to do it differently this way. I want to do it more of like a small restaurant because my restaurant before was 150 seats. It's a big one. So the next one I would do is more of like 20 to 30 seats, but actually having my own farm to actually grow my own vegetables. So the taste will can never be replicated.
Do you ever see yourself going back to the Philippines to do this, or would you be
Um,
staying there?
Again, I don't know. I'm more of like seeing where the wind blows me. Whenever there's an opportunity, I think I need to maximize my time while I still can. So when there's an opportunity, I jump into it, but I'm not also closing my mind into maybe eventually going back in the Philippines and Manila. At the end of the day, we're all Filipinos. I am a Filipino. Um, yeah, and then see. I mean, a dream would be have a really nice farm in Tagaytay City and then have your bed and breakfast and then have a small restaurant that serves really really good taste the Philippines kind of like concept food but not Filipino cuisine,
Because that would be
so
nice. Imagine if you have a Mich, because I don't think we have a Michelin star restaurant in the Philippines yet, do we?
no, I think the Michelin guide hasn't come to that part of the world yet.
Wouldn't it be nice to
Correct
be?
me if yeah, it'd be great, right? So I would really want to make something that because usually and it business wise you need to have I think something on the side to make sure that you sustain the rest that kind of restaurant because that's more of like really a passion project. But
Mhm.
eventually I would really want to have that. I mean, I don't mind even if I'm like 60 years old or like 65 doing it because that's something that I really want to do. So eventually, but for now, let's maximize our earning capacity, so to speak, making a mark in the world. And then let's see where the wind blows. And maybe
But
10 years after this, Mitzi, we're
yeah,
going to be talking
I,
again and then inviting you to my restaurant in the Philippines, right? Or
I
maybe in the States, maybe somebody would be
never
interested
know. I would love to
you
go
never
either
know.
way.
You never know. Maybe in California, maybe it's an opportunity for us to make something totally different, right? You never know.
That's right.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much, John, Chef John
it was a
Buenaventura,
pleasure.
for joining us
Thank you
here
very much.
today. And I really appreciate it. And, for all our viewers again, this is for the Pistahan Festival that we're having now. It's going to be virtual. Filipino food movement is, we usually have the
Yeah.
culinary tent and we usually have the food demos there or interviews.
Yeah.
But now this is what it is due to COVID-19. But we are
Mm-hmm.
so happy for you to join us all the way from Dubai
Bye. Yeah. Yeah.
and hope to see you again sooner than
We'll see
later.
each other. Yes, eventually. Like I think, hopefully, after all of this pandemic has like settled down and everything, maybe one day we could come. I could fly over there. Maybe we could do some pop ups and like really, and explore whatever opportunities are out there. It'd be great.
Yes. Okay.
It'd be great.
Thank you, Chef John, for joining
Thank you
us.
very much, guys. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Messi, for the opportunity.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.